Well, this is the General Hydraulic Solutions owner manual. So I went today to put the tender in the water, and again we're having problems with the platform. Now the platform works great. The problem is the hydraulic lines that go to the tender. You can see on this side, see the threads in there? Well, this side is underwater. It ate all the threads out of there, so it wouldn't tighten up, and hydraulic fluid started squirting out of here. So this is really not true, I don't know, 316 or whatever it is, stainless. So now I have to replace that line. So I went down into the pump area, and I'm down in here, and there's the pump that drives it, and the pressure and the gauges, and over in the corner you can see the yellow line, the orange line, sorry, those are for the swim platform. But for some reason it's full to the top. It sucked in salt water and overfilled itself. So now I have a problem. Now I gotta undo one of the lines at the top and purge this thing, which is not going to be fun. I should take it back to Edmonton. This is really cool. Alright, so that's what I've been doing. So that hydraulic fluid went down underneath there, and a little bit went back into the bilge area, and you can see I collected it down here. That's water, so it's clean now. It basically made its way down in there off of the pump. Blah, which sucks. So what we have to do now is we're going to take this hose and we're going to suck some fluid out of the top. We're going to stick it in the bottom and see if we have salt water in there, because if we do, that whole pump has to come out and get purged of salt water, the whole block. Blah, that'll suck. Okay, so I've inserted the hose inside the reservoir for the hydraulic pump, and watch when it's right at the bottom. Look at the water. No fluid in it. So black and blue are lock, red and white are rod end. Looks like return. So I am trying now to get, you can see the pump right there. I've loosened off all the screws, the power's off. I just tried taking the fittings off, but there's still hydraulic pressure there. So, yeah, here's the hydraulic pump again. I'm going to check down underneath here to see if there's some screws to remove this case. Because if you can look inside, it is just totally corroded inside, and I'd hate to push that through. It's just going to wreck the whole system, so gotta try and get that out somehow. Well, now we're getting in deep. So we're working down here. I'll just try and light this and I'll point to a few things. I had to take the pressure gauge off. See if I can hold this here. So I had to take the pressure gauge off, which sits right here, in order to get at these screws, which are held onto this block, which just to get that screw right there, because yeah, that case is so full, so contaminated. I'd be foolish not to try and pull it apart and get this resolved. So that's what she's looking like right now. A little bit of a headache, but one screw at a time. Okay, so we're working on the swim platform hydraulic pump. I've separated the pump from the valve assembly. This is the pump. So I wanted to show you. I'm just grabbing a flashlight to light this up. I'm glad I really did pull this out, because that's all water, and that's seawater that got in the pump. So I pulled this pump largely apart because the screws, I couldn't get the screws undone. Let me just get a screwdriver. Got one screw left, then this case comes off. What a mess in there. Alright, so trying to get this separated. Doesn't really seem to be easy way. So let's just try this. Yeah. Is that screwed on? No. Holy. Alright, pause. Okay, so it's just a press fit. These screws, obviously I had them out. I whack it with a hammer a little bit. So now I will just get the case to separate, which it is now. Nice machining. Gonna be an O-ring in there. I can see right there.
Yeah, looked like it was coming off.
Just gotta kind of take your time. A little bit here, a little bit there. Look at the shit in there. Oh my God. Longest part of the video, getting the case off. Look at that.
I don't know how to zoom. Ugh.
Oh my God. I am so glad I took that apart.
How do you zoom?
Just with this little guy right here, yeah. Yeah. Push him out. And the other way. Pull it, yeah. There you go. Look at that. Okay, that's the morning job. Look at this.
That is gross. Is that rust?
Well, the salt water gets in there, and I'm glad I did it, because if we'd sat over the winter with this pump would be done.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
I caught it early enough that I might just be able to clean it up. Yeah. Holy, and the inside of the case. That is gross. Okay, the salt in there, and it's not corroded yet, so we got lucky. I'll be able to save this.
Okay.
So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the case on the pump itself, and then we're going to go in and pull the filter. And well, the sun has come out for us here. We've got the screws in, so this casing now is screwed together. Alright, so I've got the reservoir hooked up to the electric motor. This is the hand pump in case the motor fails. It's windy here today in North Vancouver. You can see the city off in the distance, and the sun is hopefully going to break through here any minute. But we are going to go down, and I'll have to light that up down here now. We're down in here, and we're going to clean. So basically that you can see the base. I'm going to clean that up, and then I'm going to attach the valve housing to the pump motor, and then we're going to prime it and get this thing working again. So it's a little hard to film in here. I'm going to try working upside down. So basically, I don't know if you can see this or not, I have the reservoir and the engine, the electric motor bolted to the base. You can see the base down here. Now I did that. I'm going to try and flip it over. Oops. Sorry about that. But you can see underneath there's two screws here. So I cut away the rubber on both sides, and there's a screw there and a screw there, and that releases this block. And then you can just pull it up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the valve housing on top, and it just sits right here. I can probably go ahead and mount that, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. So the valve housing sits right there. I'm going to come out a bit. And basically that's what the pump looks like again. The valve housing sitting on top of the engine. Sorry, the electric motor and pump, and reservoir, the emergency handle in case the pump fails so we have no power, and then the base, which gets screwed down to the floor. So after this we'll start a prime, because well, the next thing is that filter. There's a filter right there. Once it's all together, I'm going to try and get that filter out and just check on that. Alright, so I've gone ahead and attached the valve housing to the motor reservoir. These 4 hex bolts, I'm just going to use a key, will separate this from this. There's a gauge right here. You're going to have to pull that gauge off, and there's a little valve assembly on this guy right here. You're going to have to pull him off, but it's very easy. You can't screw it up. Basically, you take this off. He slips on, and then that's it. Right? So this is your down, and this is your up actuator. And when you want to run these via the hand pump, you're just going to push down on that turn until it pops up. Now it's in the manual mode, right? And you'll do the same thing for down or for up, whichever activity you're trying to perform. Then you just lock it down. And if you're not sure, turn it and it'll pop up, just to make sure that you're in the right mode there. So now, I don't think this will go on with that on, so I had to do this after. Take that back off. It just slides off. This nut just slips over that. This gauge just slips into the block. I'll have to get a wrench for that. Yeah, and then that will slip back on. So I've got the pressure gauge back on, so I'll just remove this nut. I'll put this, slide that over that switch, and then secure it with the nut. And we're pretty much ready to go. I just got to secure this to the floor. Then turn off power, or I can prime it as it is. I don't need power. I might just leave it like it is. And yeah, we'll start priming each of the lines there to get the old fluid. Okay, we're getting pretty close here to starting to pump this. I've got it mounted. I haven't filled it yet, but we want to pull this plug out here. That's where the filter is. So we're going to just check to see how bad that is. And then we're going to fill it up. And then you can see the electrical cables on the other side. I haven't hooked them up yet, the positive and the negative. And we will energize her and get her running. So I got the filter out and I'm kind of impressed. So that's the filter. It's just be careful with it if you want to get out and clean it. Just sits in that little housing, which sits in there. And I had to buy this special 5/8 hex head. You can see inside here, I don't know if I can show that, but it's a little dirty still. I'll try and clean some of that out, but that's the filter. Alrighty, so we are getting back to now to the prime. I don't know if you can see in here or not, but I've hooked up a line to the lock release. So you can see there's one and there's the other one. So basically now when I pump, I'm gonna try, get this in there. When I pump the handle, you should see fluid come out of there, out of both of them, and it's water. You can see it just, it's gross, a lot of water. So I'm going to just keep pumping that into a jar, which I'll place down here until I get fresh oil, and then I'm going to do all the other lines off of that. So we have the swim platform, all new hydraulic fluid. I purged some of the lines, but I'm just going to show the operation here. So to get that, our main controller is in here that operates the swim platform. And now I'm going to go ahead and just untie the tender, and then we will just do a couple retractions. Okay, so I just ended up putting some air in the tender. It's a little cooler here. So it required some air. You can see there's a single otter taking off. I can't see him on the video. Hopefully it shows up there. Anyway, we have power, and we are going to just hold on to the front of the tender. And we're going to release it into the water. Oh, let me just show you one little thing here. Down here you can see when I press the, you see the up lock. You see that up lock move? That releases the tender. Not the tender, the swim platform. push the tender away, tie it up. Okay, so we are back here. The swim platform is underwater. You can see the growth down there. You really see it tomorrow when we haul out. But so basically we turn power on. We get a little red light, and then we're going to press up, and this will bring the platform up. It is a great system. Super easy, but it's just that. That side's a little slower to come up, but that is her.